What's up, everybody? Thank you for coming back to another video. I have an amazing guest with me, Carlyn. Say what's up, yeah.
What's up?
Funny story about me and her. We've actually never seen each other. I guess we just started following each other on Instagram, and then some of the things that I would post, she would like, comment on. Things that she would post, I would like, comment on. And then I guess we just became friends, Instagram friends,
Virtual friends.
like social media friends.
Instagram friends.
So, yeah, she's awesome, and this is actually our first time really talking to each other. So she's an amazing woman, and just introduce yourself, and we'll get into
Okay, yeah. Hi, I'm Carlyn. Like he said, this is our first time really talking. So it's kind of a funny thing, but, I've, since knowing him,
it.
I just see the Lord moving in his life. And, I am encouraged by being surrounded by people that are working on their relationship with the Lord. And, I just think it's encouraging, and it's important to have people around you that, are, um, working on their relationship with him. And, you just see him moving through other people as well.
Sure. Well, guys, if you have been here before, you know the gist. If this is your first time, pretty much it's just you come on the show, tell a story about when God revealed himself to you in any way. That's it. So without further ado, go ahead.
Thanks. So I'm going to tell a little bit of a story. It's going to be a little different than the firefighter one that he did, and some of the past ones. But it's just how I kind of knew I was on like the path that God wanted me to be. So I've always been a planner in life. I like to have things set in, kind of set in stone. I want to be prepared for everything. I don't like surprises. I'm very organized. And I remember being a young girl, and I was set. I'm going to med school to be a doctor. I'm going to meet my husband there. We're going to be this little doctor family. Little Miss Smarty Pants. But in high school, I ended up changing my mind. My dad is a nurse. And so I was like, oh, I don't know. I just thought I could nurse. It wasn't as much schooling, all this stuff, just from, how I wanted my life to kind of like span out and whatever. So I went to, it was the UPMC School of Nursing. I think they still have it. And basically you go to nursing school for 2 years, and then you work for them for, I forget, like 2 or so years. And I went actually with a friend. We were going to do it together. And you had to take this nursing exam. I don't know, some sort of like pre-nursing school exam to, pass it and then be let into the program.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to like say I'm super smart, but I always got good grades, and, I was a big studier. I'm very committed to my schoolwork. So I was like, there is absolutely no way I'm going to fail this exam. Right. And another way you could, pass into the nursing school was having, I don't know, like certain numbers on your SATs or whatever. Also, I don't really like standardized testing. I don't really believe in them, but we're not going to get into that.
Yeah, let's do that. Me and you can talk about that all day.
Didn't do as well as I would want to on my SATs, but like, I did not want to take them. Like, I wasn't going to be that person that was taking them like 5 times to get the score that I wanted. So I went in, I took this nursing exam, and I was like, I don't know, it's hard to like say like how you felt you did, especially when it's like all this other stuff. It was very different from the SAT, but I felt pretty confident. And, I grew up in a Christian home, so I've always had a pretty good relationship with God. So, this is something that like I had been communicating with him about, my plans, this nursing school. At the time, I have an older sister, and she was a freshman at Slippery Rock University. I never thought that I would ever go to SLIP. I was like, that little school wasn't for me. If anything, I would go to like Pitt or something I could see myself at. So, but I had visited her, and there was just some sort of like feeling dawned on me. Like, I don't know, that it just felt so homey and almost right. So, and after also, praying about this with the Lord, I basically said, if I pass this exam, I'm going to the nursing school. If I don't, I'm going to go to Slippery Rock. There's a time in between that I, felt this way about it. So I remember getting the test results from the nursing exam, and I did not pass. I failed it. So I remember opening it up, and my whole family was waiting, and I remember like running to my room and bawling, because that's the plan that I had in my mind. This is what was going to be best for me. So after I could have retaken the tests and stuff, but, I didn't want to do that. And I just felt, I don't know, me and I communicated with God, this is what's happening. If I fail, then he must want me to go to Slippery Rock. And I went in as an XI major at Slippery Rock University. I was open to what he had for me for sure, because I was like, okay, clearly you want me here, because I felt like I was smart enough, could have passed the exam. I don't know. Everything happens for a reason. Right. But I went into SLIP. A little back story to me. Also, I went to Fox Chapel High School, and I was more like my older sister, super outgoing, always socializing. I was more of like, I was on the cheer team and played rugby, but I just kind of kept to myself more. I had my small group of friends. I was more of a homebody. But when I went to Slippery Rock, things started changing. I felt compelled to like really get involved in the university. So I was a part of like so many organizations. Honestly, can't even remember all of them. But the Lord really like opened up the skills that I already had, and created new ones for me. So like I ended up being on 3 different e-boards and within the organizations that I was involved in, some related to my major and some that weren't, just other things that I was interested in and involved in. I also worked for the health center at school, and all of these things were pretty hard to get into. And, it just like, a lot of people are like, wow, you've really changed, since high school. Like, not that it was a bad thing, like for the better. I never, ever would have thought that I would be involved in like so many organizations, just because that was not me before. Like my mom literally made me join the cheerleading squad in high school because we had a role. We had to be involved in one thing. And I hated it, but it ended up working out. But I gained so many additional skills from being in those organizations, and being an actual leader on the e-board, whatever. So never ever thought that I would be in those positions. And I feel like I like tried to write things down to like keep myself on track and like have the story go a little smoother. But another side note. So like I said, I went in to freshman year as an exercise science major. Didn't really know what I wanted to end up doing with that, but I've always been super into like health, working out, nutrition type of stuff. And for a little while, I was fit. What?
This girl is fit.
I'm not. I'm not. I really am not. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice. But what was I saying? Oh yeah, so I was in these classes, and I was like, this is not for me. I really, really believe that if you're an XI major, then you should be going to like PT school or like athletic training, like to be an athletic trainer or something. It was not what I wanted to do. So I had a family friend that was in the public health program at Slippery Rock, and I was like, what in the heck is public health? I've never heard of this before. Long story short, I talked to some professors, I did a lot of researching, and I decided to switch into that major. Now I just graduated from graduate school of public health, so clearly I liked it. Clearly that was the right move for me. So yeah, then I was a public health major for the whole rest of the time, and I actually of college, and I, everyone is like, "What is it?" I don't even know. Do you know what public health is?
No.
No. Yeah,
I
it's
guess I'm
more of
talking
like
to the public about health,
talk to the public. Yeah,
you know?
yeah. So we do, but it's very like community focused instead of like doctors, where you focus on that patient. We look at whole populations. It's a lot of it is the preventative side of health. Currently, this pandemic is like our Super Bowl for us. So we also, study the spread of disease and how to stop it. So, yeah, this is like a pretty important time for us. But anyways, what was I saying? Look, now I'm like sidetracked.
Like I always say, just speak your mind.
But okay. So, I was in public health. That was the right move for me. And I just, after being involved in like being a leader on all of these e-boards, I was like, oh, like, I feel like every young girl is like, I'm going to be a teacher when I'm older, at some point. This was when I was very little. But I was like, I really enjoy educating people, but I don't want to be like a grade school teacher. That's not for me. And I love the college environment. And so like I said, I forget exactly what time. It had to have been my junior year. I think that's when I got involved on all the e-boards. But I really think that I now want to pursue to be a professor. Not sure which university yet. I would love to do Slippery Rock because
that would be cool.
My heart. I ended up doing my graduate school through Slippery Rock as well. I was online, so I was home, but like I just love that university. And I thought it was neat because I all this time growing up was like, I'm going to be a doctor. That's what I wanted. And I'm like, God, I feel is calling me to be a different doctor, like get my doctorate, but it wasn't the same, doctor that I was thinking when I was growing up.
Mm-hmm.
But I really don't think that I would have felt as compelled to, go get my PhD and become a professor if I wouldn't have been exposed to all the leadership opportunities that God opened up for me. Like I said, we didn't know each other in high school, but if you ask anyone, I would have never seen myself in those leadership roles, and say like everyone that I knew was so surprised that I was doing that. My family was like, well, wow, you're really like coming out of your shell.
Right.
But I just, that basically is like my little story. And now and there's even like ups and downs now. My first like job opportunity coming out of undergrad, I applied for a job at Children's Hospital. And I also don't want to I don't know, seem like I'm bragging about myself, but I look very good on a resume because I have a lot of experience. Like I said, like I served on a bunch of different e-boards, and some of them were health related. I also worked at the health center. Like compared to other undergraduates, I have a lot of experience like already, and I hadn't even like come out of college. I went into my interview at Children's Hospital and I was like, oh, this one's in the bag. Like I felt super confident, didn't get the job. Now I work for the Allegheny County Health Department, and it just all like God literally just like works in mysterious ways, but it's all for the good. Like now that I work for the health department, I actually work very closely with the other program that I tried to get into.
Hmm.
And just, I'm so thankful that I am where I am, because I don't think I would enjoy it as much now that I see, what they're doing or whatever. But, and now, like, I actually get to work, like, literally in the whole pandemic situation. Like, I work in a injury prevention program within the health department, but just because of everything that's going on, I actually volunteered to do other things. I'm not going to go into like what it is, but I actually do get this awesome experience that I wouldn't have had otherwise, to actually work within the pandemic and trying to, decrease the spread of the COVID-19 and whatnot. But, I just, from this whole story, this is basically what I want you guys to take away. Obviously, the Lord is going to, like, whatever you might need from this little story of mine, He's going to speak it into you. But I do just want to say that, like, before, like, I just had everything planned myself. But I think that, like, God can do so many more incredible things when you truly let go and let Him actually plan, like, let Him show you the plan that He has for you. I was trying to make this whole plan and life for myself. I'm a very, like, hands-on person. Like I said, I want to be in control. My friends will attest to that. Like, I just like being in control. And so I was, like, feeling like I was letting God lead my life, but I don't really think I was. I still wanted that control over, what I was going to be, what I was going to do in college, where I was going to go, uh, and whatnot. But, like, God had so much more in store for me than I could have ever imagined. And it's all about, just truly trusting Him and letting Him lead. And that's something that I work on every day, just because I still like to, I'm that control freak. but letting go and letting God move is just, like, so many more things are going to happen for you in your life. And so, yeah, basically, it's my little story.
Well, listen, that's awesome. I appreciate you for coming on. I think you said a lot of good things, digestible things as well that people can go and actually pray on and meditate on, because I think that's everybody's biggest, I guess, I don't want to say downfall, but like flaw. We all want what we want.
Hmm.
Even when you do ask for clarity and discernment, we still have to say, okay, if this aligns with what I think I want, then cool. But if it doesn't, well, it wasn't God. We'll just,
Yeah.
and meanwhile, it was. And for you, you actually had the patience and the maturity to say, you know what, this is what it is. Then
Hmm.
I'll just go with it. I'll just flow with it.
And
So,
I actually want to say, sorry, one
mhm,
more thing about what you were just saying. I think so many times when things get hard, or, like, there's pushback, we think, well, that this is God closing a door. And in some instances it might be, but I think it's also, like, you have to, like, not everything's going to be easy. you know, the path, you can either, take the path with God that is going to be much harder than if you take the path of this world. And I just think that goes to show that even if it is something that God, has for you, it's not going to be perfect. You're still going to have those ups and downs,
mhm,
and you're still going to have to work. It might seem that, like, I don't know, like, I very quickly came to know public health, got super involved, but, like, I was super uncomfortable, like, all of my college experience, because that was out of my comfort zone. And but, like, I just think that God also uses us getting out of our comfort zone to allow Him to really grow in us. But yeah, definitely, even if something's difficult, it doesn't mean that it's not His, like, in His plan for
yeah,
you.
as well.
That
Yeah,
makes sense.
it
So.
makes perfect sense. And like I said earlier, I think what you said and sharing your story is gonna open a lot of people's eyes to their own situation and say, okay, well, is this truly me trying to take over my life, or actually giving it up? No, you're fine. Actually giving it up to God and letting Him put you in places where you will be able to show your blessing. You can be a blessing to some, like right now, you're blessing who knows on your everyday job. You know what I'm saying? And in turn, you're getting blessed with
Mhm.
what you like to do. So I think that's amazing. Also, it's funny how you keep apologizing for like talking about yourself. Because I had a conversation
I
with my friend.
always do that.
Listen, it's cool because I had a conversation with my friend, and she had a problem with actually saying the good things about herself. And I was
Mhm.
like, but I bet if I asked you to say what you don't like about yourself, you'd have a list down the street, you know? And it's like,
Right.
I think that should be the opposite. So
Yeah, yeah.
don't apologize for that. It's good that you can openly, confidently say the things that you do like about yourself,
Mhm.
because most people can't do that, but then spend 2 hours talking about what they don't
Yeah,
like. And I
yeah.
think that should be opposite.
Oh,
So
nice.
keep talking good about yourself.
That was
All right.
encouraging. Thanks.
Well, guys, once again, another episode of Confirmation Monday. I appreciate you guys for clicking the video. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Let's have a community. I think like I said, we've never actually talked. It's just been in DMs, just talking back and forth on stuff that we post. And
Mhm.
look at this now. We're talking, and the community is growing 1 week at a time. So I appreciate you guys for coming on, and hope to see you guys next week.
See ya.